In this example, we're going to have a look at the creation of a service booking for an existing customer. So starting from the main menu here, we simply click on Service Calendar. This brings up obviously the calendar of all bookings. You can obviously browse that by month, week or day. So first of all, start by having a look at the month and verify where is a suitable time that you can book the customer in. You can then generally go to the week, which is a much finer view, or alternatively day if need be. But normally we'll pick on week for convenience. Now at this stage the next step is simply to select the time. Now as you can see there should be no problem. Let's book them in for 10 o'clock because there's a vacant gap there. So all you do is just click on 10 o'clock and the system brings up the booking form to create the booking. Now the easiest way of entering a booking is by the car registration if the customer knows it. So let's actually see what happens. As we start typing the registration number, the system is actually interrogating its database to find the closest match, and as you can see it just narrows that down as we enter more characters. So let's select this car. You'll notice the registration says OK. That means that the current date is less than the registration expiry date that was entered when the vehicle was last, the details were last updated. Question mark means that, obviously it's not sure, there is no expiry date for the registration, or alternatively the registration expiry date is earlier than today's date. So they may have re-registered it, but the database hasn't been updated. So with the question mark, you should always check with the customer to see if the registration's current. If not, you can use the registration lookup facility here to verify that. We'll look at that in another tutorial. So let's pick this vehicle. You'll notice that the customer and vehicle is already selected, as is the default service, which we can set up down here in Administration Business Settings, as we can the default mechanic. The person who is entering the booking is also recorded against it in case there's any inquiries. The service carries with it a default time, which is automatically allocated for that service, and a quoted price, which incidentally can be overridden. If you've got a special on, or for example, you could just override that price. That will automatically come up in the work order and ultimately the invoice. The status is set to confirmed. However, it could be you could set it to tentative if the customer wasn't sure and was going to get back, but by default it's confirmed. Now, before we go any further, often the customer won't know their registration. So again, it's still very easy to, if the company, all the company needs to do is know their surname. So we can actually start typing the surname. It will look up the database, find the closest match. In this case, we'll be using a company. So we'll use a company called DG Consulting. So the lookup works on company name or the surname of the customer. And you can see again the vehicle is automatically selected if that has one. If they've got multiple vehicles, it'll give the option of picking one. And also you'll notice the registration details are updated. Okay, so the last step in the booking is just saving. If the customer has any queries they'd like you to specially look at, make a note at this point in time. So we'll ask the mechanic to check front brakes for noise. Okay, and we then click on save, and there's our booking.